what I want to do now is talk a little bit. Now, I'm going to see if I can bring in, bring my dog in here. Let me see if I can get him on the show because I think it would be cool. He has a little more information that I think you guys should hear. Let me see if I can find him. Why can't I find his photos? I don't like this. I'm supposed to be able to find this. There we go. All right. So let's see if we can do this. I'm going to bring in my homeboy for a minute. I'm going to see if I can call him in. We're going to talk to about this situation, if we can, about this whole Kendrick Johnson case. And people were telling me that the mother and the father, after filing these lawsuits, retracted them. And not only did they retract them, but what I'm finding out here is that the mother and the father were actually sued, and apparently successfully. So what I'm gonna do is bring in DJJustJay because he sent me something, and see if he can tell you guys about it and find out exactly what was going on, because this is crazy if this is true.
Hey, what's going on, Brother Tommy?
Not much, man. Hey, you heard us talking about this case. How familiar are you with this case?
I am not familiar with the case. I have heard of it before. And a lot of the stuff that I'm learning now, as far as a lot of the holes and photos, and of course, while you were doing the show, I went and looked up the death photos and autopsy, and man, it is gruesome to say the least. But you know, I've seen a lot of things, so I guess it doesn't bother me as much to visually look at it. But I do understand when you were playing the young ladies a minute ago, why they said once you see that you can't unsee it. Like, I mean, that type of stuff could haunt your thoughts, especially like, you know, you go to sleep and be thinking about that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and I think they did a good job. And I want to, again, thank the Crime Junkie Podcast. Guys, make sure you go and check them out, Crime Junkie Podcast. That's Ashley Flowers, who is an author, and I think she did a wonderful job. And before I stopped that portion of the show, we had talked about basically the family was getting sued. What do you know about this, or what did you find out about this?
Okay, now, as far as the family being sued, that piqued my interest, and I looked it up, and from what I found, in 2015, the DOJ filed a motion in the civil case to intervene and stay the case. Now, the U.S. attorney said allowing evidence discovery in the civil suit to continue would have a quote-unquote chilling effect on the federal investigation, which is expanded into investigating possible obstruction and grand jury witness tampering. Now, after the DOJ's motion was denied, the mother and father, which is Jackie and Kenneth Johnson, who are the parents of Kendrick Johnson, dismissed their own wrongful death lawsuit. They hope to refile it after the conclusion of the DOJ's investigation. Now, Jackie and Kenneth Johnson are currently being sued, which is the major part. They're currently being sued for more than $850,000 in attorney's fees and $1 million in defamation damages. Now, the reason why that's so significant is because of the fact that you have to be very careful when you go sue people, because one thing that they can do, if you guys watch court TV, is countersue. Yep. So that's, you know, watching a lot of Judge Judy and Joe Brown and all them folks, man, you know, that's one of the first things I went and looked for. And I'm just like, well, obviously they were pressured into being able to drop this suit, because I don't think they just dropped it on their own volition. And another thing I was thinking was maybe they dropped it because they just simply couldn't afford to keep paying attorneys, because I actually had to pay an attorney when I was like 19 years old for some stupid crap, because I was being stupid, right? You know, growing up just doing stupid stuff. And so anytime that I wanted to contact this attorney.
Did I lose you? Oh, snap. That's actually what it says on the screen, guys. I'm not even playing. It says, oh, snap. So let me see if I can call him back. I lost him, but see if I can call him right back and get him back on the line.
Uh-oh.
That's all right. The problem was on my end, but I'm gonna go ahead and blame you for it. But you said that
that's cool. That's cool. No problem. My bad. You know, I'm on this raggedy phone.
Right. He got his Boost Mobile. Now that was my bad. It said all snap on my screen. But I want to. You were saying what happened was every time you called that attorney. Go ahead and finish that line of.
Anytime that you reach out to an attorney after they feel like they've completed their job based on what you paid them for, if you contact them again to even print one piece of paper or make one phone call or make one court date, they're expecting to get paid again. So in a situation like this, if you think about it, there's been some time that has passed with the family, and their case has probably been kind of forgotten about until this just kind of restarted. So you got to think over the past couple of years, they're not continuing to garner the same level of support as opposed to when it first came out. So the GoFundMes or whatever they might have had out there or whatever money was trickling into this has probably already been disappeared. So who they unless you're going to get a judge or unless you're going to get an attorney to do this pro bono, which I doubt that they're going to do that, especially with this being so high profile. They're going to want to get some money out of this.
Now here's the thing. I would think a little bit opposite of that. And you guys, we have our man DJ JustJay on there, the man who leads the Soto podcast. Go and check him out. I want to find out. In my mind, it seems like this would be an opportune time for a lawyer to step in to do this pro bono because of how big the case is, how big the name would be, and they would come across looking like a sympathetic lawyer. They would gain more money than they lose. They would gain more exposure than they lose if they took it on. So this almost seems like, to me, the type of case in which an individual would take on pro bono.
Right, I agree. But if that particular attorney that takes this on for them, continues to lose, one thing that that could also happen is that I think you watched this. I'm trying to remember. I think in 50 Cent's case, where he lost his judgment. But 50 Cent got a lot of cases out there. He was actually able to go back and sue his legal team. So imagine a person taking this on at, maybe not a whole lot of gain, but what if they cause these people to fall further into debt with regard to not only their current attorney fees, but defamation that apparently is going to get awarded against them? Then they're going to turn around and then potentially sue you.
Well, what do you think about the suit? Because I see it in two different ways. I can understand if you blamed me for something like that and you ruined my name, I would sue you if I'm the funeral home. Yeah, they may have taken shortcuts, but they didn't do anything illegal. If you're looking at it from this side, this standpoint, I'm not saying that this is how I feel or not. But if you're on their side, or if you are them, and you say, hey, I might have, it may have been classless to put paper in him, but the other people put cotton in him. And when I'm hearing these stories, I'm thinking, when I first heard paper, I was like, that's crazy. But then when they say, well, no, we keep the organs, and so they put this or cotton, I'm like, well, I don't know if cotton is that much better. I don't know. Could you understand why they would sue?
You also have to think that they use cotton surgically also. They don't use newspaper surgically.
No, that is true. Yeah, but you catch fish in newspaper and you won't do it with cotton. So there you go. But seriously, can you understand that possibly where the families, because they were naming specific people, and at that point, these are just allegations, and I can understand them, because it shouldn't be right that you just go around and you say I killed your kid if I didn't. So
right.
Can you see their side?
Oh, absolutely. Because the thing is you have a lot of times where people are going out blaming the police and saying the police did this. They're getting sued, for wrongful death or wrongful arrest, wrongful this, wrongful that. And these people are making millions and millions of dollars off of taxpayer money that, is now making these people look like bad folks, like they're the ones out here doing something wrong. So in turn, if those people and those entities are able to be sued, why should they not be able to take recourse and be able to sue right back? So I absolutely understand in this particular case, if the family was not able to prove what they were trying to sue for, then I absolutely am all for people being able to sue right back. But that's why I also feel like you have to have proof and evidence as well before you go suing people.
That's right. You need all the facts and evidence. But I was wondering, like, somebody said something, and I think it's very poignant in the comment section. And I want to tell you, I want to ask you this in all seriousness. Would it have been racist to put cotton inside of him? They out of line. Maybe that's why they put newspaper, because they would have been racist. They didn't want if they opened it up and saw this newspaper, all this cotton, you know they would have said, see, look at this. They're going to make him pick cotton in the afterlife. They're out of line.
That's a great observation.
So I got to give a gold star to the brother in the comment section. But I just look at it as, and guys, we're talking about Kendrick Johnson's story that happened down in Valdosta, Georgia. And I figured since I'm here in Georgia, I would cover that. And it just seems like, do you think this is one of those, because at least Sandra Bland, they got money. They were settled out of court. These people not only did not get money, but they've gotten sued for over $1 million. But this one seems like...
See, this is the thing, because I always encourage people to, you got to start taking race out of this shit, right? And I hate the fact that these individual people are able to just keep just suing anybody and everybody for whatever frivolous reasons they want to. But at some point, if you have to have balance with everything. Everything has to have balance. I believe at some point those entities ought to be able to sue individuals.
Yeah. Yeah,
take the black and white out of it. Just because you look at this, this sad, this black family lost their black son in this so-called racist school or whatever the case is. If you just say that this kid died, we don't know how this kid died, you're saying we did it, you ain't got no way to prove it, you're suing us for millions, we're going to turn around and sue you for millions, you weren't able to prove it, now we're able to prove that you just flat out are just throwing blind allegations out there at us, yes, we ought to be able to sue you and shut you down.
So think about it. Eric Garner, they got money. Philando Castile, they got money. Mike Brown, I think they got money. All these people got money. So then it seems like those cases were not as crazy as this one, but I guess they had someone to point to.
You know what this reminds me of, Tommy? This reminds me of these rich people like your, excuse me, like your, what's my guy on, that's on there with Shaq and Charles? I forget his
Kenny
name.
Smith.
Kenny the Jet Smith. This reminds me of him, as well as a bunch of other guys out there that are married and they get sued out the wazoo, and which will, maybe we can pick that up at some point in time, because that's definitely something I want to talk about. It's okay for them to get sued because they married, but as soon as you have somebody like Wendy Williams' husband turn around and do the exact same thing that these whores are doing, now it's a problem. And that's what I don't understand, because there has to be balance. If it's good for the goose, it has to be good for the gander. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. So, but I'm just still trying to figure out these cases they all won. What do you think made this case not win when it actually looked like there's more evidence that wrongdoing was done here?
Maybe we'd have to take a look and see what they were actually suing for, who they were suing, and really kind of take a look at that. But I can finish reading this last little portion, because maybe not everybody has this document pulled out. But it says here, on June 20th of 2016, the U.S. Department of Justice, or DOJ, if you guys didn't understand what I was saying earlier, the DOJ is Department of Justice, announced that they will not be filing any criminal charges related to Johnson's death, stating, after extensive investigation into this tragic event, federal investigators determined that there is insufficient evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that someone or some group of people willfully violated Kendrick Johnson's civil rights or committed any other prosecutable federal crime. And on August 10th of 2017, which is funny, that's my birthday, August 10th, a judge ruled that Johnson's family and their attorney must pay more than $292. And I'm gonna read that part again. A judge ruled that Johnson's family and their attorney must pay more than $292,000 in legal fees to the dozens of people they accused of foul play in a lawsuit that they later dropped. Do you now understand why an attorney ain't gonna pick that up pro bono?
No, I understand that part. I was just talking about the other part. I'd be like, I'm gonna let your civil suit. I ain't helping you with this. But I'm talking about the criminal suit. Remember that you said that they probably dropped because they didn't have enough money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I just figured somebody would pick that up. Hell, what was his name? Shitty Cuz got a lawyer.
Oh my God.
If Shitty Cuz could get a lawyer, Cuz, if Shitty Cuz could get a lawyer.
Possible, dude. Man, that's crazy.
In the words of Kevin Garnett, anything's possible. But apparently everybody should be able to get one. They said, you get a lawyer, you get a lawyer. Shit, Shitty Cuz got one.
Hey, I cannot argue that. I cannot argue that. Wow.
And here's the one that someone sent me, and I'll read that to you to see what you think about it, because it's smaller than yours, but it says a judge had ordered the parents of a Valdosta teen found dead rolled up in a gym mat to pay nearly $300,000 in attorney fees to those who they accused of killing their son and the parties that they allege conspired to cover it up. The long-anticipated ruling by the Lowndes County Superior Court judge named Richard Dick Porter stems from 2015's wrongful death suit alleging that the brothers Brian and Brandon Bell murdered 16-year-old Kendrick Johnson. The Lowndes High School sophomore's body was discovered on January 11, 2013 in the school's old gymnasium. The state, hold on a minute. Sophomore?
You said sophomore?
Why was he a 17-year-old sophomore?
Birthday could make a difference because I was 16 as a sophomore.
Yeah, but I'm saying, where would his birthday be if it happened in January 11th and he was already 17? Even if his birthday was January the 10th, that means in his junior year, he would be 18, and on his senior year, he'd be 19.
Well, I just know it's not uncommon. Well, you know, maybe I just went to school with some folks, and that's not uncommon to me because I actually went to school with some people that graduated at 19.
So I graduated at 17, and my birthday was in December. My birthday's in December.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I've heard of it though. I've definitely heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but usually when I hear of it, it ain't good. It ain't that they went straight through school. I'm not trying to be funny, but I don't know too many 17-year-old sophomores that went straight through school. And they didn't get held back. Now, maybe they went to this thing that there used to be this thing we had when I was in school. You would go to kindergarten, and then the next grade, if you weren't good enough to go to first grade, they send you to this thing called readiness. So a lot of the people who I went to kindergarten with, when we went to first grade the next year, they got stopped at readiness. And then they went to first grade. So then they were a year behind everyone. So I don't know. Let me get, it says the Lowndes County High School's body was discovered on January 11th, 2013 in the school's old gymnasium. State and local investigators concluded that he died from positional asphyxia after he got stuck in the mat. Of course, a lot of stuff seemed weird. You guys are ready to go? A lot of things seem a little weird. And what I'm going to do, give me a second. I'm going to play something right quick and I'll be right back. I want you guys to see this because it says
of us think when we return something to Home Depot, Lowe's, or another department store.
There was a third autopsy, and then when the third autopsy was done, these apparently are the results of the third autopsy. And I didn't know that. I thought it was just two, but apparently there were 3 autopsies that were done. And so I'm gonna let you guys see the third autopsy and then get your opinions on that and be right back.
Autopsy could open a new investigation into the death of Kendrick KJ Johnson. Now, January 11, 2013, the 17-year-old Lowndes High School student, his body was found rolled up in a gym mat on campus. His death was originally called a tragic accident by investigators, but his parents firmly held on to the belief that he was murdered. In June of 2013, Johnson's body was exhumed for a second independent autopsy. Those results showed Johnson died from, quote, unexplained apparent blunt force trauma, end quote. Now tonight, WLB News 10's Damon Arnold has that third autopsy report in hand. He joins us live in the studio to break down what this new report could mean for that case. Damon?
That's right, Jim. I have that third autopsy here in my hand that continues to combat the original report from the GBI autopsy that stated Kendrick K.J. Johnson died from accidental positional asphyxia. In the case of Kendrick K.J. Johnson, the results are finally in after 2 exhumations and 3 autopsies. The third and current autopsy Dr. William Anderson conducted with forensics dimensions revealed blunt force trauma to Johnson's right thorax, known as the right chest, which he calls unexplained, apparent, non-accidental blunt force trauma. Anderson's report states an area of discoloration reveals possible hemorrhage, the escape of blood from a rupture into what's described as the inner rib area. Added in that report was the possible hemorrhaging near the jaw. The original report from the GBI autopsy states that KJ died from accidental positional asphyxia. Dr. Anderson also performed the second independent autopsy. KJ was exhumed back on June 22nd. The family has taken the autopsy report, some documented conversations, and affidavits to the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office, hoping to have the case reopened. Now, Johnson's family would not discuss the autopsy with us, requesting that they would comment later when Kendrick's father, Kenneth, returns to Valdosta. Jim?
Well, the digital team at WALB News 10 put together this timeline of the Kendrick Johnson case. It breaks down each development from January 2013 until today. Now, you can find it on our website. Just go to search at WALB.com.
There's 2 things I want to say about that.
Jump in.
First and foremost, I gotta say, man, watching them exhume that, God dang, as a parent, I could not imagine what that was like having them, watch them, not only you having to go through watching your son be buried and all of the prior stuff, but then for them to be pulling him back out the ground is like, Jesus Christ, That's bothersome emotionally, number one. So I can only imagine what the family is going through. Number 2, unless I heard incorrectly, didn't they say that the third autopsy found blunt force trauma?
Yes.
God dang. He was hit, bro.
But here's my question. Because as you see how different the photos look of what he looked like right after the incident happened and in days after the incident happened, wouldn't the fact that he had already been autopsied, cut on, and moved, wouldn't that make the third autopsy very difficult?
That is correct. Yes, that is correct.
Because you could find some things that actually happened post-mortem that were done by any of the people handling his body at that point.
Possibly. Well, but see, and then another thing you also have to think about is, like I say, I'm not really, an expert or nothing like that, but one would have to imagine that you could determine in some shape, form, or fashion while you're doing these autopsies, as far as placement of blood, maybe maybe certain indentures on the face or skull or something. There has to be something that they saw or found that absolutely indicated blunt force trauma. And most of this stuff is we're just trusting the person that's doing the autopsy, and they're saying, well, I didn't find nothing.
That's what I'm saying, both cases.
And if you're talking about if these people aren't trained properly, then how do they know what to look for? How do they know what they're looking at? And what motivates, and I'm going to throw this out there, the conspiracy theorists, what motivational factors do you think that they could have had to point out and say that I either saw this or saw that?
That's what I'm saying. It seems like, which side do I listen to? Is the first side lying to me or the second side lying to me? Because I didn't talk to either side, and I don't know which either side. I think that third autopsy, even if it was done, which it was, but that third autopsy should not have been done by the same guy. It should have been done by an independent person. But instead it was done by the same person who did the second person, who found that basically both times that the first person was wrong.
Oh, my God. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that it was a different person on the third one.
No, if you hear it, he said the same person who performed the first autopsy performed the second one. So I was like, well, I don't know about this. I was having to listen
through the phone, so there was a lot of stuff I couldn't actually hear. I didn't want to play it through the computer, so
my bad. I feel you. But I'm saying it just seems, and I'm not a state guy, I'm not a Big Brother guy, and I believe in conspiracies and everything, but some things I just want to know more about before I start pointing fingers, like how what they were doing, which is pointing fingers at people who might have had power. And you know what? We may find out 10, 15 years later, the Johnson family was 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to preserve some integrity. Like, I think you can go off like me on the painter guy. I just went off on how much he charged me and what room he painted. I can leave it at that. You can decide if that's enough that you pay for. I'm not going to slander the man and just throw all kind of stuff under his name. That's ridiculous. But
I agree.
When what they're doing is something that I just don't like. I don't like when a lot of people start picking out people. And if you can't, because the thing about saying this stuff, if they can't tie those people into actually having anything to do with him, then they have every right to sue him. But if you are the parent right now, how do you proceed? You are down a little over $1 million now. You're being sued. You were down your child. You were down in something, like you said, one of the most disgusting things you have to do is not only bury your kid. And I love when the mother answered that. They said, did you think you'd ever be exhuming your kid? She said, hell, I didn't think I'd be burying my kid. Let's start there. But you have to exhume your kid. You have to bury your kid. You have to find out that they stuffed your kid with newspaper. They lost your kid's organs, every one of them. So even if he was stuffed with paper, but you went into the medical examiner's room and you went in the freezer, refrigerator, whatever they put it in, and your kid's stuff was there, you'd understand it. You don't understand why not only did you stuff this kid with newspaper, but there's no chain of evidence, or there's no chain of custody of my kids, all of them, organs, not one, every one of them. Well, as a parent, as a person who talks about stuff like this all the time, what would be going through your mind as far as even thinking of what the next step would be when you ran into those roadblocks?
First thing I'd be thinking is just because I'm just thinking about what I know and kind of put myself in their shoes. The first thing I'd have to think about is, I don't know if they have any other kids or not, or if they, if it's just the husband and wife together. I'd be thinking about, how am I going to take care of my immediate right now? Like, as far as how am I going to live? How am I going to pay bills? The first thing that you have to focus on is getting that lawsuit or whatever it is that you were sued for from underneath you. You need to get that from under you.
Mm-hmm.
First thing that I would do is I would come out and I would bring out all of those exact facts, everything that you just said, because of this, because of that, and organs were lost, blah, blah, blah. You have to take that stuff and say, because of these factors, I was led to believe and point the finger at these people. And as a man and as a father, until I can absolutely prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, I'd come out and say, to all of you people that I accuse, I apologize. That actually goes a long way. You have to come out and publicly say, just as well as you publicly embarrass these people in the court of law, you have to come out and say, I apologize for pointing something at you that I could not prove. Can you guys forgive me? And please either reduce your lawsuit or drop your lawsuit. And I can almost guarantee you, they know they're not going to get no $1 million out of these people.
That's true.
So they would be more inclined to drop it.
Because it's in principle.
You get that accomplished,
because you
after
guys
you get that accomplished, then I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, DJJustJay is 100% correct, because what you got to understand is these people had to countersue or to sue, in essence, to save their name, to at least have it out there, because people will say, well, if it's not true, why didn't you sue? So they have to do this. And they might have, that public apology literally may have went a long way, whether you believe they had something to do with it or not, because you still can do what you're doing behind the scenes to investigate this, but at least give those people something. So you're right. You're 1,000% right on that.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. And the fact that they still apparently have some type of sway in the public opinion, they can absolutely use that, come out and just use whatever networks they need to use and come out and say, guys, we apologize. And then put the pressure on the people to come out and say, come on, man, they apologize. They're going through a lot. Drop the lawsuit. That would be hard to get the people emotionally stirred up in order to put pressure on them to drop them lawsuits. They know they're not going to see the money.
Mm-hmm. Very true. In thinking about this case, the black outrage started off as racist, and a lot of people were thinking it's a racist coroner's office, racist funeral home, and then they found out that a lot of the people were black, a lot of the students were black, a lot of the people around all of these situations, especially the funeral home. That's just, to me, the funny part about it, that these were black people where the buck stopped there, where the coroner says, hey, we sent the body with all of the organs in it. These people said, well, we didn't get it. Then they said, well, if we did, they were destroyed during a natural course of decomposition. I've never even heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I haven't either. That was new to me.
Yeah. So what do you think about the public's perception and why it went away from the public eye?
I'm not sure how you'll take this, but I do like what one person said in the chat. They said it's not racist, it's just incompetency. And I agree with the fact, because, I mean, how long have you been talking about this? The fact that whenever you put us in charge of our own stuff, we seem to fuck it up worse than anybody else do. Excuse my language. You know, I know it's in the middle of the daytime.
Oh, we good. I've already had a fifth of Jack, so we good.
So I'm just saying, like, when we look at, when we police ourselves, when we run ourselves, when we run our neighborhoods, or you leave us to our own devices, we tend to screw it up worse when we don't have some other so-called social class of people giving us that type of direction or holding us to that level of standards or whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. So it's the thing that you've been pointing out for the longest time. Like, everybody has to continue to tie these things together and say there's always one common denominator, is the fact that we tend to do the worst stuff to ourselves. Mm-hmm. So how can we hold other people accountable for how they treat us when we don't even treat ourselves fairly or justly?
And here's something I want to say, and I want to get your opinion on this, your take on this. I don't know if anybody's ever thought about this, but they were talking about organ harvesting. Here's the thing. If the coroner who received the body said all of the organs were in there, and if he was found a day later, you cannot salvage those organs to use them. Because as soon as you die, I think there's a certain amount of time that you only have to be able to use any of those organs, and you can't use them anymore. So they have to literally, right when you die, they have to remove them because they have to be working. Necrosis has set in. At that point, they can't use them. So why is nobody bringing that up? I've heard no one say it but me.
And that was something else I was thinking about, because I was just like, okay, how much time had passed from the time that that they were able to get access to the body to so-called remove all of these organs? Because because how long was he in that gym? They said for like what? For like a day or two or something like that?
Yeah, it was a whole day.
So if he was dead within 24 hours, I believe that those organs will already be unusable. And like you're talking about, I think hours.
I think you literally have to have blood still flowing through that person to harvest their organs.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
I said I think you have to have blood still flowing through that person.
That is correct. It can be stopped, from my understanding. Like you can that person can be dead, but then you're up against the clock really, really quick in order to save those organs. Mm-hmm. Like if you're talking about like a day or two that pass by, that's not even, like at that point it's just useless. Now what's not useless is if you had those organs, you could still determine a cause of death from those organs. Now those organs could have still been very, very valuable if you had them, just not valuable to be able to so-called put them on the black market, sell them, and stick them in somebody else. Now that ain't possible. There you go. Yeah, not after that amount of time.
So if you were to, and it's my man DJ JustJay, y'all need to go and check him out. DJ JustJay, I want your true opinion. If you had to give your thoughts, and let's hope you don't get sued, what do you think happened in this case? I took the same deep breath when I was thinking about what do I think. I'm like, because there's so much shit that is floating around. But I'm going to try to hold your feet to the fire and give you the hard questions. What do you think happened?
I think he was murdered. I do not believe that he crawled in that tiny space like that. I mean, we all were in middle school. Maybe not everybody had rolled mats in their gyms, but we did. And going up inside of a mat like that, I mean, you would almost be more inclined to move the mat instead of climbing in the mat. Like, to me, that just doesn't even follow any, like, you've got to be real slow and real dumb to crawl up inside of that thing.
Well, that's why I was trying to not be funny, but that's why I said 17-year-old sophomore too. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm trying to put at least everything into perspective. But go ahead.
I believe that he was murdered, but then you have to ask very vital questions. Why? You know what I'm saying? Why they murdered him? But then if you want to talk about, well, you know, where the camera was cut and this and that, then you have to think, okay, let's think bigger than that. Is this like some type of, you know, some type of conspiracy thing? And then you'd have to think, what was so valuable about this person that they murdered him, covered it up, and then turn around and so-called harvested organs that may or may not have been good by the time that they got them. And then you go through all of this BS. And what was the significance of this particular person? You mean to tell me that maybe he possessed some knowledge about something? Maybe he saw something he wasn't supposed to see? What was so significant about this person and made him the person? And you know what? We're going to go after him and cover this whole thing up. What's the significance there? And I don't see anything remotely close to say that, yes, this is a great reason to try to cover up his death. That doesn't even make sense. I think it's a hell of a lot smaller than that. It could have been something as simple as, if they so-called believe that this is a racist town, maybe he did something to some white girl, maybe, okay? Then you could also think about the fact that how violent we are as far as black folks towards each other. We kill each other over nothing.
Hey, I was going to literally talk about that. My girl was telling me
we cover that stuff up all the time. Do we not? Do we not burn cars? Do we not toss people in rivers? Do we not, you know, like Malia Davis, take her and you still can't find this 4-year-old baby out there in Sugar Land, Texas?
Hey, my girl was telling me a story about something that happened in Arizona. And in Arizona, there was this is a sad story. There was this woman, well, not even a woman, but a young teenager who had a baby daddy, and she accused the baby daddy of beating the kid because the kid had a bruise on it. She was arguing with the baby daddy. Apparently, the baby daddy pushed her. The stepdaddy somehow goes outside and shoots the boy between 7 and 10 times, tells the police, shot the boy in cold blood. Grown-ass man, teenage kid. Shot him in cold blood. Then he goes and tells the police a complete different story, said the boy was running at him, so he had to pull the gun. And if it were not for the truth being told by the baby's mama's sister and the man's own wife to tell him that's not what happened. He grabbed that gun from me and shot that dude. Matter of fact, told the girl move out of the way so he could shoot the dude. Now, I don't know what kind of rage this man had, but this young black kid who was shot and killed, and I guess I'll do that story, but it was a friend of hers. He was shot and killed, and there was no outrage. Now, I understand you could say that he was arrested and everything, but what outrage should come is it was that easy for him to tell that lie. So a lot of times we need to understand, and that's why I said earlier, there are a lot of people who will say and do a lot of things, and in their process of saying and doing a lot of things, they don't really care who they hurt or who they screw over.
Yes, right.
And here's how I look at it, and you tell me what you think about my thoughts on it. I believe that this was probably some hazing that went left.
As a sophomore?
Like some kind of, football hazing. They haze when you get on the, when you have young people, they do all kind of stupid stuff. Some kind of hazing that went left, or maybe fucking with him and it went left. They do bully people. They do all kinds of things. I think this was something, if you had to hold my feet to the fire, I think it was something the kids did. And then there was a small amount of cover up going on. I think this is something the kids did, though.
Yeah, I think it was something closer to that. Because when I think hazing, I usually think of When you were in middle school, when you was 8th grade, that's all everybody used to talk about was which school you was gonna go to and how much of your ass they was gonna kick by the time you got to high school. But they usually occurred as a freshman. Like I don't ever remember their because usually once you cross that threshold of freshman and you're a sophomore, it's usually everybody else is now you're in that protected group. But I could still see that happening. Even that would make sense. But I also think that it was probably maybe a couple people involved.
Yeah, like people are asking me about
I don't think it was just one person took this one kid out, hit him with whatever they.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, hazing isn't one dude. No, hazing isn't one dude. It's a group. I think this is somebody said like stir of echoes. Very, very, very good analogy. I do see because in the movie Stir of Echoes, these guys went and played with this girl, pretended they like her, got her in the damn house, were going to do little things to make fun of her and whatever. And then next thing you know, they ended up killing her, and all of them hid the secret. I believe this might be one of them. And then people were saying, well, what about the video? The video, I can talk to you guys about whenever I set my alarm and stuff like that. It has a camera on it, but the camera doesn't film all the time. And a lot of the cameras, if I didn't have, I had to buy this big old terabyte data hard recorder in order for it to record. And even then, when it fills up, it just starts recording over the other stuff. But the other things only record when someone moves. Right. And it'll record until that person moves out in order to save space.
Right. Hazing gone wrong. That to me sounds very, very plausible.
Mm-hmm.
Like they made a hit him too hard. Maybe somebody hit him the wrong way. He fell over, boom, hit his head on something, and they just dumped him in the mat.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think they dumped him in there. I think they rolled him in there.
And came up with a story.
Yeah, I think he was rolled in there because the thing is, it looks. They were saying it will be very difficult for him to.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? I think I lost him.
Hello?
I'm still here.
Hello?
Let me try something. I'll try to hang up and call him back.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was just basically saying I don't know how much of that you heard, but I'm thinking maybe somebody hit him and maybe he's made a fail and hit his head on something, and that'd be real easy for them to throw him in that mat and then just come up with a story.
Mm-hmm.
A story about it.
Well, and here's the thing: he was rolled up in the mat. So, in my opinion, again, I don't know, but it looked like he was rolled up in that mat because it was too tight on him. I just don't want to believe no kid is stupid enough to try and sliver down in a fucking mat by themselves. And I just don't want to believe that in the process of him doing it, that he wouldn't be able to move or you know what I mean? Like he would start to get so panicked that he's
way out of there.
Well, think about it. He would start to get so panicked that he can't breathe, that he would start moving wildly, and the fucker would fall over on its side. It wouldn't still be standing up.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And then another thing I thought about was how heavy those mats are, because there was a party I had to do a couple months ago where we had to move these gym mats because this guy owns this really nice building, but it's like a cheer thing. But we had to move these actual mats that they have to do flips on and stuff. And I tried to roll that thing by myself. It took almost 3 of us. In this case, with a mat like that, it would have taken at least 2 people to roll up a mat like that.
Yeah. No, I said I believe it has something to do with more than one person. This wasn't a one person job. And like I said, I just don't want to believe. And the sad part about it is you may find out that what you don't want to believe actually happened.
Man, wow.
That's why the parents should have, held their tongue. Because sometimes, even if those people did it, if you don't have the type of evidence to prove it, then you probably shouldn't be saying it.
I agree. I agree. I mean, that's just basic principle. If you can't prove it, you probably shouldn't be saying it.
Especially when you cost, and they said the young boy was one of the boys that was named was cost a scholarship. I know the family's name was pretty much destroyed. When you now look at this guy as well, you would cover up your son murdering this black kid, and it's just it's one of those things where I really feel sorry for the parents. But I also understand them being sued, because you can't just go around because you're hurting other people. And that goes back to the saying of hurt people hurt people. DJ JustJay, man, thank you so much. You want to leave him with a parting shot?
Man, just want to say thank you guys, man. Y'all continue to please make sure to like, share, subscribe, support your boy Tommy Sotomayor, man. This is your boy DJ JustJay with the Soto Podcast. As you guys know, we advocate for children first, man. That's what we do. Come check us out from time to time. You heard?
Hey, go check it out. Now, I looked at your last one. Maybe you can tell them about what they can go over there and see about that last case that you were talking about the young lady in Sugar Land.
Okay, well, with Malia Davis, this is the thing. I'm pretty positive, and I'm going to just tell you guys, everybody's mad because they called the search off, EquiSearch called off the search. That little girl dead. Wherever she's at, if they ain't found her, if she ain't being taken care of by somebody, just, privately, she dead. She ain't gonna survive on her own. She's too little. She's too frail. She was already beat up. She had already had brain surgery because this dude done beat her up. So, in my opinion, I would absolutely believe, without any shadow of a doubt, that he beat her to the point to where he finally just finished the job and then went to go cover it up. When he brought that basket out, and it didn't make any sense why, if you have a laundry basket with what's the point of having a laundry basket and a garbage bag and be carrying it out? To me, that doesn't make any sense. Like, if you have a garbage bag with garbage in it, then you carry out the garbage bag. If you have clothes in a laundry basket, then you just carry the laundry basket without a garbage bag in it. To me, that just does not make any sense. I believe that baby was in there. I think everybody is right about that. It's just a matter of time before we find the body. Everybody might as well just give it up. Don't get mad at EquiSearch. They did what they were supposed to do. They were volunteering their time and their energy, and some of those people didn't get paid shit to go out there and go look for that little girl. And you have to remember, what is the benefit for them? There's a black kid, and there's probably a lot of white folks out there, these benevolent white people that keep donating to y'all GoFundMes. I think that they need to have more respect for these people, because you don't have a ton of black people out here putting in work that in order to try to get justice for these babies.
Thank you. You'd never see a group of black folks just saying, fuck it, let's go through the woods and the swamps or whatever it is like that. Let's get up here every day at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. You don't see that. And so since we don't see that, oh crap, I don't know what's going on. I'm losing a lot of something every time I try to speak to DJ JustJay. This thing keep on cutting me off, and I don't know why it's cutting me off like this. I'd like to apologize for me having Boost Mobile service, because that's what I got apparently is Boost Mobile. I got Boost Mobile, JustJay. But I was saying, yes, we should have a situation where blacks should understand we don't have a bunch of black people out here running around in swamps and shit like that and donating all this kind of money, and yet we still want to look at them and act like they owe us something. I think that's why a lot of people don't like to give black folks stuff, because they be like, well, wait a minute, you now treat me like I owe you something.
Right. That's why I've always told people that they need to not be on this crusade to make white people seem like the devil. Like, I can't tell you how many times people come in my comments, because there's just thousands of comments, and for the most part, I just let people say what they want to say. But I do read them, and people are always saying, well, why don't you do some stories about the white community? And I'm sure it's other races of people out here doing this. First of all, I don't like that, because what you're saying is you're trying to minimize what I'm doing and say that I should be doing something else when I'm doing what I feel like is important at this particular moment, at this particular juncture, and this story is important to me in some shape, form, or fashion. I believe this little girl deserves to have some justice, and I explain why in my video. So if you want to go do that, then fine. But I think it's funny how those people have 0 videos on their channel when they literally can go live from any damn thing nowadays. You can go live from a tablet, cell phone, Boost phone, Obama phone, laptop, Chromecast. You can go live from any freaking thing now. A lot of this internet is very affordable. But on top of that, it's just the fact that more than anything, I just feel like people need to be careful, and you need to be prepared to go to war if you're going to call somebody out. And I don't think that as black people, we are ready to go to war with no damn body. So when they smack you in the face, now all of a sudden you want to be outraged about it. Now these people that got smacked with $1 million lawsuit, now they want to act pissy about it. Well, shit, I mean, how long have we been doing this to them? For dozens of years now. Suing them about anything and everything. Now you done got sued about anything and everything, but they were able to prove that you weren't able to justify what you were suing them for. So in my opinion, that's fair game.
And yeah, we have to look at that. We have to look at the people who you mistreat, who help you, that one day they might decide they're tired of helping you. And two, the people that you are quick to sue might then turn around, or you quick to disparage might turn around and sue you too. Hey, thank you so much, brother, for coming and joining the show. You have a great rest of the day, man.
All right, man. You too, Tommy. Thank you, brother.
Peace, brother. Hey, that's my man, DJ JustJay. Love you, brother. Come back through anytime. This is what we're talking about, and we have these kind of discussions, and I like having these discussions with you guys. And again, and it's talking about the young man that you see on the screen there, Kendrick Johnson. And it's odd that he has the KJ in his name. I know it's just coincidental, but it's just, you had Kendrick Johnson 2013, and then I think it was 2015, or was it 16? You had Kanika Jenkins. And then just yesterday, I did a report about Kenny the Jet. Kenny Jet. I don't know. I'm just saying it's just a thing that we should look at. And I don't want to be Alex Jones, and I'm not that guy. And I kind of think that maybe my comments about Alex Jones probably didn't go over too well about the people who work with Alex Jones. And I understand. And I told y'all, I don't keep friends. I just say what's on my mind. And I don't want to go out and throw wild, baseless accusations at people, and that's what they have to live with that. And if my voice is powerful enough to be able to ruin those people's lives, I don't want to do that. But I just think if there's a way that we can go after justice, there's a good way to go about it. We don't want to start slandering people. And if you do, if they come back at you, then that's you. So what do you guys think? I'll see in the comment section. Accident or murder in some form. Just want to hear what you guys got to say before I go, because I have a few more things that I want to talk about. And I still have my daughter, so I'm going to broadcast until I can figure out what I'm going to do. And if you guys can go see my man Tommy Guns, please go see him, just in case I can't make it, because it's 6 o'clock now. Murder, accident. It can even be an accidental murder. Now, Nat B said accidental murder. It can be an accidental murder. For some reason, I think maybe, and I know some of you guys may say, you're splitting the baby when you say accidental murder. I just think maybe it was. We don't know what kind of guy he was. Then nobody's saying he was a bad guy. Nobody's saying any of this stuff. So, I just would really love to know more about it. Guys, I want to thank you so much for coming and joining the show. I know I didn't say anything about the donate button because I was loving doing the show, and I love doing this type of news. Thank you guys over there on the news channel for joining us here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Let me see. Let me read this if there's anything that came through here. Oh, my man Miguel Castillo put $50 in there. JDread10 said, can I get unblocked? You email me and I will unblock you. I don't know who blocked you or for what. Brandon Austin put $5 on it. Alonzo Picardo said, entertaining, interesting video. Adrian put $1 on it. Andre Hill put $25 on it and said, left my ass off at the blow me down treatment. Charmaine said, please unblock me, but it's hard for me to unblock you because you didn't send me the link. Charmaine, please send me the link to my email and I will unblock you. I cannot do it the way that you sent it to me. And Adrian Altador said, thank you for the truth. You are a blessing. And I think that may be it. Let me see. I don't know if there's anything inside of the PayPal, but I can take a look. And anytime that you guys would like to donate or whatnot, if you think it's the entertainment is worth it, we work off of the good graces of you guys, because as you know, I'm being constantly stalked by people I don't know, who any other way that I try to do anything, even live shows or whatever, they've tried to ruin it and make sure I can't get it. And the only thing they can't stop you guys from doing is directly putting money into the hands through the Cash App, through the Venmo, and through the PayPal. And my man Ronald Space Jr. said, glad to see you moving back to the A to be with your baby. She needs her sister with her now. Them girls love you, bro. So no matter how hard it gets at times, them girls always going to be by your side and will need you. Thank you. My man Mark Adams put $5 on it. Jonathan Brooks put $5 on it. God damn it. Nigel B put $3 on it. She the Cool P said, haven't donated in a while, so here you go. Hope everything goes well with the new house, brother. God bless you. Can you say, son of a bitch? Thank you, Nigel. Joshua S put $5 on it. Mark Adams put another $5 on it. Said the black nurse's name was Eunice Evers. The experiment was a Tuskegee study from 1932 to 1972. They did a movie called Miss Evers' Boys starring Lawrence Fishburne. My man Colonel Davidson put $1.23 on it and said, here's my donation to your news channel video live stream, bro. Thank you. No, thank you. Adrian M put $1 on it and said, I keep missing the live shows when someone has a problem with your shows because I do have a problem with one of your arguments about black women. I can do that with you right now, Adrian, if you email me. Email me, Adrian. If you're still there, email me, Adrian. I'll talk to you right now. Johnny E put $2 on it and said, love you, my brother. Stay safe. You know what I mean? Put $1 on it. Darrell S put $10 on it. Thank you, Darrell. William C put $5 on it and said, hey, tell me I enjoyed the show. To hell with the haters. A majority of us enjoy your shows. God bless. My man Oliver, Big Oliver, he put $20 on it and said, thank you, Tommy, for all that you do. I gave you $1. The other 19 is to piss off the haters to the 19th power. And I am sorry I overtalked you on the phone the other day. I could not hear you clear enough. That happens a lot. My bad. So here's my donation to you for all of the hard work and the bullshit from the bitch ass niggas, male and female haters. Buy yourself a big ass moon rock. If you do not know what that is, let me know when you're in town and we will get some for you when you're in Los Angeles, California. Till then, much love. Keep up all the hard work. You are winning. Look at all the haters who have you on their feeble ass minds. Thank you again, my man Big Oliver. And then my man Joseph H put $10 on it. And then we had one more behind that. My man Everett Brown, he put $10 on it. That brought us even. So guys, thank you so much. I will stop for a minute. And if that guy emails me, it would be great. I would love to have him on there. You said a few more came in through the Cash App. Let me take a look. My man Bolo put $5 on it. He said, I would love to do a one-on-one. When can we make that happen? We can do that ASAP, especially since I'm set up right here. So let me know when you want to talk Bolo and what you want to talk about. My man JustJay not only came in calling into the show, giving enlightenment on the Kendrick Johnson situation, but then he came around and donated $5 and said, I'm enjoying calling in. I love having JustJay call in. What do you guys think about that whenever I do the live news stuff like this? Like as often as I can, I want to bring in JustJay, bring in the Soto podcast, talk to him, and especially when we do crossing of stories, there's no reason for us not to. So that would be awesome as well. And thank you guys so much. And thank you, JustJay. And Charles put $1 on it. So Jimmy D just put $1 on it. So that's pretty cool. Thank you guys, everyone else. I'm going to try to see if I can set up another show. Wait on that guy to hit me up. Stay here until my girls up there painting. We'll see what happens. I'll talk back to you in a little while. See you guys. Peace.